Welcome back to the Better Everyday podcast, where we are unlocking our best self one episode at a time. My name is David Garcia, and this is my lovely, beautiful, amazing co-host, my wife, Grace Garcia.
Thank you. I love you.
Love you too.
So today we want to talk about the dangers of lacking self-control. I feel like the last couple of episodes we've been talking about the importance of building good habits, the importance of doing something even if we don't feel like it, which is self-control. Mm-hmm. And so I want to start off by asking you, I know it's kind of a big question, but what do you think are the dangers of lacking self-control?
The dangers of lacking self-control, I think for me, I like the word discipline better.
Okay.
I think the dangers of lacking discipline is that you'll never achieve greatness. I think there's some people that are okay with that. I think there's some people that just, we've talked about it in the episodes before where they just want to be content and they don't really like the whole striving and climbing a mountain and going after things. And so I think if you want to achieve greatness, you need discipline. But if you lack discipline, don't really count on your life being any better than it is right now. To be better, you need discipline. You need the self-control. Like if we look at it as health-wise, I'm kind of in the midst of that right now, just being open and transparent. I'm usually a very disciplined person when it comes to health.
You are.
But in the last little bit, I've been lacking a little bit.
But you're still showing up even though you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Which is important.
Definitely, but I think discipline is usually something hard to do. So my battle right now is I get home and I'm trying to stick to my meal plan, which is about like 1,800 calories. And I feel a little hungry. And so I get home and my wife, this beautiful creature right here, she's been hosting a Connect group every Thursday, and every Thursday they got snacks, and every Thursday night there's leftovers. And so there's been really good cookies around. There's been some brownies around. There's been some crackers and some cheese around. And so I get home and I'm like, what's one? No big deal. But one turns into two turns into three, and then I just start indulging. And then that for me personally starts like this downward spiral of like, okay, I messed up in the food. Why even bother for the gym? And like me personally, I'm just black and white. So it's hard. But there you see like the lack of self-control, the lack of discipline means that I'm not getting towards who I want to become. So if I want to become a healthy person, I've kind of, it's been kind of hard to be like super jacked or whatever. It's a whole science to working out and looking like that.
You look good.
Thank you. But if I want to be healthy, like I can feel it when I don't eat good, I don't perform well in the gym. Mm-hmm. I can't run for as long. My cardio starts lagging. And so there you see the effects of it. I don't have self-control. And so it shows in my performance. And so that's just one of the ways, like never mind like more destructive things that lacking discipline can bring. But yeah, I think that's one of the things.
I have been thinking about this topic a lot recently. Mm-hmm. Would you go as far to say that lacking self-control is a sin?
Is it a sin?
Do you kind of want me to show you my thought process and then you can chime in?
Sure.
So Adam and Eve, right?
Mm-hmm.
It started with the fall.
Mm-hmm.
It's their fault. And they're told when God creates them to have dominion over all created things.
Okay.
The serpent tempts Eve with the fruit. She has that point, right, of deciding to indulge her feelings. It looks good. It's enticing. Or she can practice self-control and say, kind of how we say, don't let your feelings rule you. She takes it. Fast forward to her kids, Cain and Abel.
Mm-hmm.
Cain kills Abel. And then God tells Cain, like when sin is crouching at your door, like roll over it. I believe that's the term.
Mm-hmm.
Roll over it. Which for me is discipline or self-control. So would you go as far as saying it could be, or sin is a lack of self-control?
Okay, I could say that sin is a lack of self-control because we know what is good and what is not good.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need self-control to be able to do good.
Yeah.
Like, let's say anger. I mean, everybody feels angry, right? And it takes self-control for you to just like, hey, I need to step away for a little second. I'm going to get angry, but I'm not going to take it out on anybody. That you taking it out on somebody is you indulging those feelings, right? You're just letting
Mm-hmm.
it go. You're letting the beast out. And I think that could definitely be a sin. But do I think all lack of self-control is a sin? I don't think so. Like, I mean, again, if I lack self-control and I have a cracker and cheese, is that a sin?
But that's I guess for those things where like you wanting to get better is that it's you wanting to get better. It's not a sin. Like you're not doing anything.
It's not a sin, but it's like a setback.
Okay. So not all.
I wouldn't say all, no.
I think that's what I like have been not struggling with, but just thinking about, because I came across an article that says the 7 deadliest sins is all a lack of self-control.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I come to this because for me, I want to be very intentional about family time. I want to be very intentional about minimizing my screen time, because I think after teaching, immediately, like, I'm drained. I want to just scroll, the doom scroll, as they call it.
Yeah.
And I'm lacking self-control. And Grace, put the phone down. Even if I don't feel like getting up and playing or being present, like, do it. Like, don't be a slave to those feelings of exhaustion. Don't be a slave to those feelings of I just want to sit here and relax. And it's hard. I think I'm really good with my morning routine, and I told you this before.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling in my nighttime routine. And I think that's why sin is dangerous, because, again, it's crouching at your door, and we all get tempted, right? There's always that thought of, like, I have this decision right now to make. Temptation in itself is not bad. It's, are we going to succumb to it or not? And the parenting book that you told me to read, there's a part there, I don't know if you remember it, where it says you might make one decision a day that is not bad or good. It's like that cracker. It's neutral. It's not until days pass where you start seeing the effects of it. And I think the example they provided was not eating dinner together. In that moment, it's not good or bad. It's kind of neutral. Life gets in the way. It's neutral. But so many of those missed opportunities ends up accumulating to the point where you no longer have, like, a solid family relationship. And I think they gave another example of, like, if you're the parent where it's like, I want McDonald's to feed my kids the McDonald's today. That one day, it's not bad. But then you accumulate, and then you all of a sudden notice, like, my kids have horrible, like, health habits. It just makes me think, like, the lack of self-control in one day might not be that clear, but then we've talked about compounding that last episodes. The compound can be deadly. What do you think?
I'm going to mention a book. Can you guess what book I'm going to mention?
No. Atomic Habits.
So Atomic Habits just says, like, for something to become a habit, it has to be something that just you do without even thinking anymore, right?
Yeah.
And so I completely agree with you in regards to like you let it slip one time, and that's what the book says. You let it slip one time. Well, guess what? Now you're kind of giving yourself permission to slip again and again,
Mm-hmm.
and you keep justifying. Well, it's only one time. It's only one time. It's whatever. It's not a big deal. But that not little big deal can easily compound into like what you said. Like it becomes a lifestyle of like now you're not living the life that you actually want to live.
Yeah.
Now you just keep indulging in those feelings. But I want to go back a little bit because you said you've been battling a little bit in regard to like, I'm tired, but I know that I have to spend time with the kids. I'm tired, but I know I have to clean. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're going to have people that are probably being like, well, where's your time of rest, homegirl? Like, it's okay. Like, I can already hear like empowering,
You
just
think
like,
people say that?
I think some people, yeah. Cause I guarantee you, like, the moment that you said what you said, especially with like, oh, having the discipline, and even though I'm tired, like, you probably triggered some people of like, yo, just take the time off.
Yeah.
Cause that I think makes some people uncomfortable of like, no, just be okay, relax, chill out. You deserve it. You're powerful. You do so much things during the day. And I'm not taking that credit away from you. Like that's 100% real.
Yeah.
But you're going to have people that are going to say, when is your time of rest then? And I'm asking you that right now. If someone were to ask you right now, let's say in the comments, that's basically thinking it, when is your time of rest then? Like, are you just going to be disciplined all like your 24 hours a day? Or like, when are you going to find rest? Or when are you going to find time of just like decompressing, being in Sabbath, whatever you want to call it?
I think that's a good question because I brought it up to you also, where what's the difference between, or what's a healthy self-care look like?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if as a Christian community, we've labeled like Sabbath and self-care as the same thing. For me, when I doom scroll, like it doesn't make me feel good. I think we've said as a society, that's my time of rest. I think it's a bad habit we've created. I personally, sometimes it's like neutral. Other times I just feel more drained. And if I anything, I feel guilty. So I'd say that's not like decompressing. I think it's just being in zombie mode, not thinking, which is not negative, not a good thing. I think I can find rest with my family. I think I can find rest, like maybe not actively playing, but sitting there having an activity, like a calm activity, like maybe like a puzzle or watching my kids play. I notice that if I walk around with them, I have so much more like peace in my heart. I feel like more at rest. I'm at least content with what my afternoon looks like than if I doom scroll or if we're all together. I think that's way more fulfilling and self-care than, again, me doom scrolling. I think this is a form of my resting, talking to you. I think it brings me such satisfaction and peace and happiness. Hanging out with you in the room. Yeah, like just being present with my kids. I think those could be times of rest.
Okay, so now what you're talking about then is a change of perspective. Yeah. Because we're going back to the two sides of the coin. On one side of the coin, you could be like, good. Taking care of my kids is a job. Being a wife is a job. Cleaning my house is a job.
Yeah.
But now what you're saying is like, no. Let's change our perspective. Spending time with my kids is a time of rest. You have to change your perspective or else you will see it as a job. And a lot of people dread their jobs because it is a lot of work. Kids are a lot of work, like dealing with all those emotions, all the craziness, they don't listen to you. They're screaming at each other. Somebody could easily label that as a job and like, oh, I have to deal with this again.
Yeah.
But changing the perspective of like exactly what you said, it's fulfilling to me. Me spending time with my kids, me having even to deal with all that stuff is fulfilling to me because now I'm a present mom. I'm not somebody that's doom scrolling. I'm not somebody that's giving them a tablet and just be like, go over in that corner of the house and I'll go in my corner of the house and we're just going to be on our screens until the end of the night and then I'm going to put you to sleep. Yeah. Like, you're changing your perspective. Same thing. I know for you personally, like cleaning the house can be a job, but at the same time, it gives you peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like, like you can rest.
Yeah.
I've seen you like when you're done cleaning, you're like, I can rest. I can enjoy my house.
Yeah.
And so it's what you're saying now is just, it's a change of perspective. If you don't change your perspective, yeah, you can dread everything. And that's when you're like, how can I scratch this itch of just feeling rest? And, like somebody that we know, he goes, I just need to mentally check out. I need to do nothing, mind blank. And I guess, a moment of meditation. But I mean, we have responsibilities. We have a life to live. And I think if you have a perspective of being grateful for the life that you have, then everything becomes less of a job and more of just enjoying what you've been given,
That's good. Changing perspective, I'm going to bring it back to my original question, is controlling your thoughts in a sense, self-control, being disciplined enough that when a thought starts heading negative, we bring it back. Correct?
You're asking me, but I really want to ask that question to you. Just because, okay, let's be honest and transparent, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've gone through situations, we've gone through fights, we've gone through tiffs, as they call them, where, I mean, in the moment, I'd like puff out my chest. I'm like, I'm going to call her out.
Yeah.
And I go, homegirl, you're in a freaking hole. You're digging yourself a hole. You're not only digging yourself a hole, but you brought a chair and you're sitting in it and you're like, you look at me and you're like, this is your fault. And when you get more mad, you dig it deeper and you still have your chair and you chill there. And you're like, this is your fault. I'm not getting out of here. It's your job to get me out of here.
Yeah.
Like, and when I'm talking about digging a hole, I like into that negativity, like you said, like,
yeah.
Because there's been times where from what I feel and what my impression is like, you're like, I don't like my life. I don't like my home. I don't like my job. I don't like my surrounding.
This has been a while.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't remember being like that recently.
No. Not recently. And it's funny that it triggered you because you get so defensive. But we're talking about, our whole life really together. So, and that's great that you brought it up that it hasn't been a while, because that also leads to another question of how did you get out of it? But there was a time in your life where that was you.
Mm-hmm.
And so exactly what you asked me, like, should we have a self-dominion, a self-control over our thoughts? And I always tell you, like, there's things in your life that you cannot control, but what you can control is how you deal with it, how you act upon it. Like, what wisdom do you apply to the situation? So take us through what your feelings were, what your thought process was back in those days. And then also tell us, how do you feel that you got yourself out of the hole and said, I'm not going back?
It goes back to that double-sided coin, because my feelings were valid.
Mm-hmm.
Someone can see that and be like, she's completely true, but it's not helpful. Mm-hmm. That reminds me of my therapist.
Yeah.
She'd say, no, you're right, but it's not helpful.
Yeah.
My thought process was always, you're the head, which is true. You're the leader, which is true. Mm-hmm. You have some responsibility with me. At the end of the day, God is going to keep you accountable for our family. All of it is true. But 100%, I have full control of my thoughts. And God is going to keep me accountable for that as well. Mm-hmm. I think those moments, life gets really hard. And it gets so hard to the point where even my thoughts, like, it's just draining. I'm already physically drained. Mm-hmm. I get emotionally drained. Like, my job is emotionally draining. That for me, it's another thing to control my thoughts. It's like, it's asking a lot of me. And it's so much easier at that moment to say, I just don't have the energy for this.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to just gravity fall into that hole and stay there. And so I think that's how I got there to that point where I'm just so drained in all those areas where I just decide I'm going to sit here because it's easier to do.
Okay, let's just pause there for a second. So we're talking about how you were years back, and you're basically saying these are the reasons why, I kind of fell into the hole.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you also stated that I am the leader of the household. I have some responsibility. Okay. And so then we start going into the dynamic of our relationship in those moments.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because obviously, I'm a man. So men are naturally just fixers. Like we try to fix as fast as possible. Right. And two, I'm naturally somebody that just, come on, like it tries to encourage in regards to like when I see somebody going through a rough time.
Yeah.
Right. I try to give somebody advice and I try to encourage them and, try to help them out. Right. And so in those moments, I remember I'd kind of like try to cheer you on and be like, come on, you can do it and blah, blah, blah. And eventually you like, just stop doing that. Like,
yeah.
I just need you to sit with me. That's it. I need you to sit with me. I need you to validate my feelings. I need you to just stay right here with me. I don't want to get out right now. Just sit here with me.
Yeah.
And so looking at it in hindsight, how would you see that scenario, and how would you explain that scenario now?
There's so much power in just seeing someone. So I'd still argue this day, you should have slowed down. I think when and validated, like, you're doing a lot. I see that you're tired, and it's not because you're weak. It's not because you can't. Yeah, it's not because you're weak or you can't handle it, but it's your job is a lot. And so you have a right to be tired. I would be tired if I were you. Like, just validate those emotions. I think there's so much power in seeing that person, and how we kind of said first episode, speaking life into them. Because at that time, your identity is like, I'm stuck here. I'm stuck here. I can't get out, or I don't want to get out. But once you see them, I feel like you kind of lower their walls of like, well, I'm tired. I'm exhausted of like, here, I'm trying to show you something. I'm trying to show you. I'm kind of like screaming it at you. Well, everyone's different, but in my case, I feel like I was like screaming at you, like, look what I'm doing. I'm exhausted. I need help. And when you see me, you kind of like, okay, I can pause and be like, he gets it. I don't have to put on my walls up, my guard up. I think in being seen, it lowers your guard to then speak life to me, make me realize. But if you're just trying to like, get out of it, I think that's not the first step you should do. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and this is definitely, well, also in my opinion, I think this is subjective.
Yeah.
Because
everyone's different.
I mean, yeah, exactly. So you just have to figure out how to do if it's with your wife or your husband or whatever. Because again, naturally, I'm just like, come on, let's go. And for me, that's like me seeing you, like,
yeah.
I see you and like, I'm with you. Don't worry. Like, I'll help you. Let's go. Let's get out of this. You don't have to be like this. Because again, A, I'm a man fixer. B, I have like this heart for like the underdog.
Yeah.
And like when I see somebody, struggle like that, like it pulls on my heartstrings, right? And so I'm just like, come on, like, and I want to see that person, whether that's you or somebody else, like, be triumphant over that situation.
Yeah.
Because that for me is fulfilling, because I feel like I played a role. I was able to be used to be able to help you, And so I completely understand where you say, like, I need you to just sit with me, validate me, feel what I feel, help me bring my guard down, because I get it. Like, you're already frustrated, and to have somebody come at you and be like, come on, like, put on your armor and let's go. Like, let's keep fighting. You're just like, no, I'm freaking done. Like, I'm done. And so that's where personally our battle was, where I'm like, just be positive. Come on, just be positive. And you were like, no, I don't want to. And you would straight up tell me, like in different words, but you'd just be like, no, I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
I want to stay right here. Don't want to move. I'm tired. And for me personally, what I got was, again, I'm a go-getter. I'm goal-oriented. Like I want to strive. I want to champion through.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that I had to understand, and I had to take a deep breath like I'm taking right now,
Getting flashbacks.
I just had to take that deep breath and say, this is my life partner. This is my wife. I'm trying to make her run when she can't run.
Mm-hmm.
I want to continue running. But the price that I was at that point paying was I was leaving you behind. I was cheering you on while I was still jogging, while you were sitting down and you're like, I'm not moving.
Yeah.
And I was jogging. I was like, come on, hurry up. Come. You can do it. And you're like, no. But I didn't want to stop moving. And I had to realize, David, stop, go back, be with her, help her. And then when she finally decides to get up, walk with her step by step. And that's when I came to that realization. I would rather take one step at a time with you than run all by myself. Because one thing that I came to the realization of is if I run, one day I might look back and you're not going to be there.
Yeah.
And I know that's going to crush me because I'm going to feel like I was so successful in everything. And when I look back, I'll realize I was successful at nothing. And so going back to the self-control, the controlling your emotions, your thoughts, I basically just said like it's okay to like be with you, right? But I believe at the same time that coin is not one-sided. It's still two-sided in regards to you also, the person that's, in the hole or just not feeling like
lacking self-control.
You also have the responsibility of, in this scenario, you're the wife, I'm the husband, right? And you declared I'm the leader. And the leader is telling you, come on. Like the leader's trying to like speak words of life over you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Speak identity over you, like you said. And you're saying it's just not the time right now.
Yeah.
Wait for me. But at the same time, now the other side of the coin is, how much waiting is too much? Are you basing it off your feelings, just your feelings? Where how much responsibility should you have to control your thoughts, to hear your leader? It doesn't even have to be your leader because, I mean, we might be talking to people that aren't married or whatever.
Yeah.
But maybe that you have somebody in your life that is speaking words like that to you, but you're just like, no. And this is based on my feelings. When I'm ready to get up, I'll get up. If I'm not ready to get up, if you don't make me feel like I want to get up, if you don't sit with me with my emotions and validate all of this, I'm not going to get up. So at what point do you have responsibility to actually listen to the person speaking words of life over you and trying to encourage you, trying to get you out of that hole of not having self-control in regards to your thoughts?
Yeah.
Because your situation is real, 100%. But again, you're responsible for how you react to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the person with a loving heart, in a loving way, is telling you, come on, you could do it. Come on, you're a champion. You're more than a conqueror, like all these things. At what point do you have the responsibility to be like, you know what? I have to listen to this person because this person is not coming from a point of trying to hurt me. They're actually trying to help me and benefit me.
I think from the beginning, I have the responsibility. I'm not going to, this is my opinion, but I'm not going to sit here and say like, just because it was real doesn't make it a good thing. Like, I did go through a lot, but I think I was feeding those emotions of ungratefulness, feeding those emotions of speaking down my identity, of helplessness, of my future's not bright, of things are not going good for me, like just feeding into those lies. That's not good. So I think from the beginning. But once it's too late and I'm like, I need help, I think you need help. But it shouldn't have gotten to that point.
Mm.
Now am I gonna sit here and say like it'll never happen again? We're humans. I don't want it to happen again. Will it? I hope not. But to say like I will never get to that point again.
So coming from the point of like a fixer, an encourager, the thing, and somebody who, the Better Everyday podcast, right? So we're trying to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way for at the very least next time you like, it's almost like for me, it's like entering the program into your brain and like, okay, for the next time, I'm going to try my hardest to listen to that person because I know that they're speaking words of life over me when I'm believing words of death, let's say.
Yeah. I think so. It goes back to creating those habits. Doing it now where I'm not there. Because I can't just say, oh, okay, once I get to that situation again, I'm automatically going to think, listen to him. I have to start now that I'm sane, that I'm in a good place. And I believe I've been practicing that every morning. I have my alone time with God. I journal, write what I'm grateful for, give him thanks. That's how I start my day. I think we have been more life-giving to each other. Even today, I didn't tell you this, but you kissed me and I was kind of like annoyed. And I said, I'm so loved right now. I have the best life. And I like just accepted your kiss.
Yo, what? Yo. Okay. Okay.
And so it's just real, when you're just like, I'm getting something done. I think I was cooking and you like stopped me and because you know how when you clean. And I'm like, babe, I want to love on you. And you're like, I'm cleaning. Wait, let me wait until I finish cleaning. It was kind of like one of those situations. And I could easily, like, I'm cooking, David. Like, stop. And I didn't. I accepted it because I'm like, I'm so loved. He loves me. Like, this is the best feeling. Like, to be loved. And I think it starts now, like, right now that I'm in a good place. And the little things I have to worry about are things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's reminding myself of my situation, reminding myself if things don't go exactly how I planned it. Like, life is so good. And I even said it on my TikTok earlier, like changing your perspective and I've noticed even when I text you, I start complaining, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And I tell you, okay, but this is what I'm grateful for. This is what I'm grateful for. I tell you every time I complain now, I have to say what I'm grateful for. And now I find myself saying, if I didn't have this job or if I didn't have this opportunity, I would be trying to get it. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful that yes, I'm stressed. I have a deadline, but if I didn't, I would be wanting it. So I have so much to be grateful for.
As you were speaking, I think, well, first of all, I thought I floored you with that kiss, and I guess not.
You did. Once I took in my little deep breath, you did. I love it.
Here I am thinking like I'm sweeping you off your feet or something. You're just annoyed.
No, you're so cute. I love you.
Okay, so while you were speaking right now, and you're saying like, now when I say something negative, I also say something positive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm currently reading Romans, and part of the beginning of Romans.
Me too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Cool. The beginning, somewhere in the beginning of Romans, it talks about you're either a slave to sin
or a slave to God.
Or a slave to God.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also see like you're either submitting to sin or you're submitting to God. And I feel like there's a battle when you're having those negative thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like you're willfully just giving your arms up and just like, shackle me up. I'm yours.
Yeah.
Or, God's using somebody or speaking to you directly. And it's just like, these are the words of life that I'm speaking over you right now. And it's your choice whether you're like, okay, I submit to you, break these things off or not.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I agree.
Because if we're made in the image of God,
Mm-hmm.
we have characteristics of God, right?
Correct.
One of the characteristics of God is being a savior,
Mm-hmm.
somebody that comes to your rescue. And I mean, I don't think we're going to get to like this is the right answer.
Yeah.
But for me, because this is me, right? I'm like, well, that's what I'm doing. I'm embodying a characteristic of Christ. I'm
100%.
coming to your rescue.
Yeah.
And I'm asking you to submit, not just to me, but like the truth that I'm speaking over you.
Yeah.
Again, coming from a loving heart and also speaking like truth that's written,
Yeah.
you know, and again, it's your choice.
100%. And I believe that's why self-control is so important. And I think in a way it is sinful. Unless someone can change my mind, but I'm going to take it that it is sinful. The Bible tells us God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-control. When we don't practice self-control, who's in charge? Not us. So we said our feelings, society, social media, like who's in charge?
Mm-hmm.
And we already know the enemy works through people, through music, whatever it may be. So I do think it has to be up to us. It goes back to like the triggering moment, that conversation we had, I think episode 2, where you can kind of like toggle at me, like poke at me, like, hey, try to help me. But it's not until I make the full conscious decision of I'm done with this.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. I think self-control. That's why it's so important to get it from the onset. But it's so hard because, again, it starts off as not being a sin. For example, let's go back to your cracker scenario. Eating that one cracker is not a sin. You deciding I'm not going to eat it, but still choosing to eat it. Let me go back. I'm going to do 2. I'm going to use that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say I'm going to go to the gym, or like I didn't limit myself to that cracker. Okay. You did. If I go and eat that cracker, I'm not sinning. Like I never said in my head, in my heart, I'm not going to eat it. So I'm good in the sense, right? You put in your heart, I have this goal. I want to reach this. You already established it in your heart and your mind. You go and eat that cracker. For me, I'm going to say it's the beginning of it. You had that temptation. You opened the door. Again, sin could be like a tiny little white lie, a tiny thing where it's not a big deal. It's not a big change. You don't see it. But you said that one cracker leads to another one.
It's a gateway drug.
Leads to the cheese, leads to the cookies around it. It leads to everything.
Yeah.
And that's a lack of self-control already. You already gave way, and you practicing giving up your self-control will then show up in other areas. You said, now because I ate this, I don't want to go to the gym. So now not only did you eat the food, now you're not going to the gym. Then once you don't want to go to the gym, I'm going to go home because I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm going to doom scroll. Then that's another thing you're just doing, doom scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
And it just like continues and continues. That's why I say the 7 deadly sins, what they all have in common is a lack of self-control. I don't care if you're an alcoholic. I don't care if you are lustful and like watch porn and have a bunch of sex.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you are I always say this word wrong, gluttonous. If you practice gluttony,
Mm-hmm.
those are all things that are bad. Not because it's like, oh, having eyes for a man is bad. Like, I love you, right? It's not lust. Oh, alcohol is not bad in itself. Food is not bad in itself. What's bad behind all of the 7 deadly, or any sin, is the lack of self-control that you have to practice over and over and over again. And it starts with a little thing that doesn't seem like a difference. That's a problem and the danger of sin. It's never a big deal until you notice and you're like, I had no idea. I not only put my hands up, I willingly went into the prison. I willingly like I'm asking for my execution.
Mm.
And that's the danger. Like the enemy only came to steal, kill, and destroy. A sin is only going to lead to one of those three things. But it's never a big deal in the beginning.
I feel like this is going to go for a while more because now I'm going to be an advocate for all the feelers, all the people that feel. I need to feel. Because when I hear you speak right now, and you can speak on both these things. One, I see you and I'm like, oh, she must have it all together.
Oh,
Hold on.
I'm already
Because
getting heated up, y'all.
because the way that you're speaking,
Yeah. It's with passion.
it's with passion, but it's like you're basically
I don't
saying
need a
this is how
cracker.
I live my life.
Yeah.
Okay. Number two, I see you how some people see me in regards to finances.
All or nothing.
Not just that, but like military.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we met with a financial coach,
Correct.
and on I forget what session it was, second or third session or something like that. She was like, no, homeboy, you need to calm down. You're doing a great job saving.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that you're saving as much as you're saving.
Yeah.
But you need to chill now because now I see that you're more of like a military guy. And you just on as much as you can, like sacrifice, discipline, whatever. Like, and she was basically like, you need to have time to enjoy what the fruits of your labor. You're too just on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And somebody could look at you right now after you just said what you said and be like, homegirl, you sound like a freaking military girl. When is it okay for me to have that one cracker? When is it okay for me to doom scroll if I want to? When is it okay for me to have a day of nothingness? When is it okay for me not to be so disciplined, right? And I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong, but I'm just being an advocate for those people that are like, homegirl, that seems so unattainable.
Yeah.
That seems like I'm not gonna have any joy in my life because people, especially like with food,
Mm-hmm.
that's joy to them. A little bit of salt, like we said, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of grease, going out to a fast food restaurant, going out to like, I don't know, Korean barbecue or whatever. Like, and we're just talking about food. Like this pertains to self-control in all areas of our life. But like food, everybody eats food, right? So that's just one of the easiest things that we can talk about. But what do you say to those people?
I don't think scrolling social media is bad, or eating the cracker, or taking rest.
But you just said,
of course, I said
one little thing leads to the next.
I told you had it in your heart to not eat the cracker.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. And I said I didn't sin.
Mm-hmm.
Correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's when you have a lack of self-control. So it becomes a sin when you no longer can stop and you want to. For example, back to the food. This food makes me feel good. You keep going. You keep going. I'm sad. I want to eat food. I'm happy. I need to eat food. I'm eating too much. I feel sick. I can't stop. That's an issue. That's a sin. Same thing with doom scrolling. You're doom scrolling. You have like responsibilities. You're ignoring the whole world. And you're like, I should go to bed. I'm tired. I can't stop. You're like glued onto it for no reason. Like you're addicted.
Mm-hmm.
When you no longer have self-control is when it's a sin. Same thing with alcohol. I personally believe alcohol is not bad. It's when you have no self-control, when you give up your senses, right? That's what drunkenness is.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it's bad. So that's what, and I told you in my scenario, when I eat that cracker, I'm good.
But I feel like you're almost, I'm just going to say it, I feel like you're almost hiding behind a technicality. Like if I feel like I don't have to stop, then I don't have to stop and I'll be fine. It's not until I have that like conviction of like have self-control in regards to eating, in regards to drinking. Like it's not until then where it's a bad thing. But that's what I heard you just say right now. Like as long as I don't have that conviction, I'm fine. I can do whatever the heck I want.
You think conviction, like let's say, for example, do you think an alcoholic they no longer have self-control. You think they don't have conviction that something's up? I think people know. For the most part, I think people know when they're already like, I am willingly going against what I want, what's good for me.
Yeah, but then you get, okay.
You don't think so?
I think a part of them knows.
That part is
but
more than
them,
enough.
Most of them don't accept, because when you go, again, from a loving heart, hey,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be doing this anymore. It's not good for you. Oh, I can stop whenever I want.
But they're lying to themselves. And in some cases, it is where like the Holy Spirit has to be like, you have a problem. Because that's why we needed the law in the first place, right? To remind us, hey, you're sinning. You're falling short.
Mm-hmm.
So in a sense, I feel like most people do, there is something in us, natural law. God says, even if you have no, like Romans, right? You have no excuse to say, I'm not in need of a savior. Creation, everything speaks of you needing a savior. If you willingly lie to yourself and say, I'm good, like no, you're not. I personally think there's no way people are just gonna be like, I'm good.
Okay, here's a question that I think will better define some lines. Do you think that there's right and wrong in every area of our life?
Let me use what my homeboy Paul says. Not everything might be beneficial.
Because, okay, again, going back to the food. I believe that there is a right way and a wrong way to do health. Not every single detail is like, it's not a carnivore diet.
Yeah,
That's
what I was gonna say.
But there's a boundary, right?
Correct.
I think we can all agree grease is bad for you.
But even then, not all grease. It's, for example, if I eat a funnel cake, that's not bad for me. It's when I eat it every single day of my life. Yes or no?
I think it's bad for you.
So you think like don't even eat the funnel cake? Like it's a sin to eat it?
No, I'm not saying it's a sin. I'm trying to help the audience like see, because right now we're just like, there's a right and a wrong, like there's self-control, whatever. What I'm trying to say is like, there is boundaries. Mm-hmm. And I think in regards to health, there is like a general like right and wrong. Mm-hmm. Too much salt is bad for you. Studies have been shown that. Sugar is bad for you because it's empty calories that turn into fat, makes you obese. Obviously, all the junk food, all the fast food.
Okay.
Like
too much grease.
Sure. Because you've seen the comparisons where it's just like a burger by itself is like 500 calories. And then you see 500 calories of healthy food and it's like a whole freaking huge meal.
Yeah.
And that little burger is not going to fill you up, but the 500 calories of just healthy food might. Mm-hmm. Right. And so obviously indulging in excessive calories as well. Like there's all these things. Mm-hmm. And so my thought process is there is a right and wrong because one will produce longevity.
Correct.
And one won't. And then we talked about this in an episode before where the short-term pleasures is all about you. Mm. But the delayed gratification is more than about you. Yeah. So we're talking about health, right? So, I mean, somebody, especially who has kids, they want to live the longest life that they can. They want to see their kids grow up. They want to see their grandkids grow up. They want to be around for the long run to see all that, to bless their generations, to impart wisdom, and I believe there is like a boundary of health to be able to do that. They say, what is it, 3 or 4 times a week, at least 30 minutes, active cardio, which could be walking, it could be uphill, it could be hiking, whatever you want. And the eating right, there's a right. I believe there's a right and wrong for every aspect of our life. Like one is going to produce life and one is going to kind of take it away from you.
Yeah.
So again, do you now believe that there is a right and wrong in all areas of our life?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you believe that, then it's no longer just about your conviction. Because at first you were like, well, if you're not convicted, you're fine. Eat the cracker. Eat the donut. It's only
No,
one.
I'm saying when it's a lack of self-control. Because if an alcohol...
But the thing is you being food in the boundaries of health, that's where the self-control kind of is defined then. Because there's a circle of healthy and there's a circle of unhealthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
The donut's not going to be in the healthy, no matter what you want to, how do you want to justify it? The donut's not going to be in the healthy column or the healthy circle. So you do need self-control to not have it because you shouldn't have it. When you have it, all you're doing is you're tapping into what do we say? Like the dopamine hit. I got the sugar. Oh, like it's like a drug.
Mm-hmm.
And so you shouldn't have it. My opinion.
I don't know too much about health, but you don't think there could be a balance of, okay, I'm aware the donut is useless when it comes to health, right? If anything, it's bad, like for regards to sugar, grease, stuff. So I'm gonna make sure my health, my meals, breakfast, lunch is good, that I'm doing my workouts, so that if I want to indulge in this donut.
No.
Okay. So you don't think there's a balance? You think that's just a...
Because that actually was in probably my favorite book now, Atomic Habits. It explicitly says it in there.
Yeah.
It's like, if you think that you can have a donut and work out and everything's going to be fine, like, no, you're not creating the right habits because all you're doing is canceling it out. And you're thinking that you're justifying the donut for the workout. But I've seen videos and I've seen studies where they're like, oh, I had like a burger. This is how long I had to run to burn a burger. And it's usually like one burger, 500 calories. It'll take you like, I don't know, 4 or 5 miles to like burn off. I think you burn like somewhere around 100 to 120 calories per mile that you run. So it's like, okay, are people running 5 miles to burn off that burger? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go back to it. Like, what is it that you're actually trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to accomplish being a healthy person, then you have to be within the boundaries.
Correct.
And so that's where self-control should come from.
It should.
And so I go back to having self-control and knowing what is right and wrong. I believe right will always produce life.
Correct.
Wrong will produce death. And we go back to that verse that I stated in a couple episodes back. The path that is least traveled is narrow, but it leads to life. The path that is wide, a lot of people travel it, but it leads to death. So there is a right and wrong, like maybe both paths. I don't know. Like, I think that because there is a right and wrong, that should define where your self-control is. It's not just like personal conviction. Like, I don't feel convicted. I'm going through a quote unquote bulking phase, or, it's just, it makes me feel good. Like, no, that's for me personally, it's not okay.
No, that makes sense.
And this happens with every area of our life.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a right and a wrong, like indulging in alcohol, indulging in drugs, indulging in pornography. Maybe it starts with a picture that you see on Instagram. It's like, oh, it's no big deal. I was scrolling. I wasn't even looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that, again, it becomes a door. And you're like, oh, well, it's just this and it's just that. And you keep pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
And you keep justifying it. It's like, where's the self-control? you know, like what your triggers are. You know what is right. You know that you going through that door
Mm-hmm.
of indulging in your feelings is not going to lead to life. It's going to wear on you. It's going to wear on your relationship. It's going to affect you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
No, I agree 100%. It's not a popular road to travel on. We probably lost people like listening because they're like, nah, they're too extreme. Like, move on. Because even me, I'm like, I want to eat the donut and justify it. I want to say, well, if I do this and this, I can have the donut. And you said it's no matter what lens you look at it, it's wrong. Now, just for like the viewers, I say don't let that discourage you. If you are a Christian of the faith, like there's grace. But grace is not to be abused and say, I'm going to eat this donut and God's got me. It's not for that. It's for, like, we're going to make mistakes. But it's tough. I think living a purposeful Christian life is tough because the world, and this could even be another episode. I don't even know how long we've been talking, because now you got me thinking with your whole spiel of what the world calls self-care, even what the Christian circles call it self-care, that we can make a whole nother episode. I just want to relax and watch the show. Is that show, what is it going to help you with?
You're triggering people right now.
Is it going to help you with your relationship with God, your relationship with family? And you might argue, like, oh, my relationship with family, like we're quality time. Okay, but what is the message that the director wants? Like, what is it feeding into your mind and feeding into your heart, feeding into your spirit? Then we go like, everything's bad, legalistic. That's one, right? That's another view. Everything's bad. To the point where the Jews wrote so many laws, afraid they're going to sin. Like they had the main laws that God gave them, and then they added to make sure you don't even get close to that. But your heart is so focused on laws at that point that it doesn't even care. You're doing them in vain. You're not even close to the Father's heart. And that is, as a Christian who wants to have a purposeful life and wants to make sure they're doing everything correctly, it's so dangerous to lose sight of, like, what's the purpose at the end of the day? Because we can easily go super legalistic. And we haven't said it, but I hope people who know us personally know our hearts. Because even Romans, you'd see Paul where he's like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do, And then he says, but we shouldn't judge. We're going to get judged with the same judgment we're giving. And that's what, at the end of the day, we need God's grace because we too are going to fall short. I'm going to eat the donut. I'm hoping it's not willingly, but that's even another conversation. Like, what's a boundary of not going too legalistic, of not saying, well, I'm going to let feelings dictate and be saved by grace.
You call it legalistic. I just called you a soldier not too long ago, a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I feel like it's the same thing. Like, you're being way too hardcore. Somebody might look at you and be like, you're way too hardcore. Like, this girl must think that she has it all together, which 100% I want you guys to know that we do not have it 100%.
Not one little
I
bit.
said it earlier in this episode. Like, I'm right now struggling with self-control of, like, the cookies and the crackers.
Doom scrolling.
And I struggle with watching too much shows. I still struggle with it. I still read my chapters and stuff, and I do get all my work done and stuff, but I still watch too much TV, I'd say. And so we don't have it all together, 100%.
We're getting better every day.
Yes. And that's the whole point of this conversation is like, again, if you just become 1% better every single day, you don't have to just what's the what do they call it? Cold chicken, cold turkey.
Yeah.
You don't have to go cold turkey and I'm 100% because usually when you go 100% right off the bat, you don't make it. It's gotta be. You gotta think about it longevity wise, little by little, little by little. You're building your own temple. Let's say little by little. Like you're getting better little by little, little by little, and that little by little will compound, and you end up, so much more greater at the end, right? But that's the thing is, somebody might hear this and say, "That's too extreme. That's too crazy. There's no way." They don't enjoy life.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like. Where's the enjoyment of life? That's everyone really wants to know that. Like, what is the enjoyment of life? How do you enjoy life living such a military style, life? And you said it yourself. Like, you do have moments of, you'll have your donut or you'll do your doom scrolling. We're not saying that that's right though.
Yeah.
But that we know what is right and what is wrong, we know it.
Mm-hmm.
At least for the most part. Like we were saying, like watching the shows, that for me is kind of a gray area because, I mean, we've never done it because the kids don't have the attention span. But to have a family movie night, I think it'd be nice. I think on the long run, like the kids are like, oh, we used to spend time together watching that. But making sure that that's not the only thing because like if you look at it, you don't, it's quality time in regards to like you're all focused on the screen being entertained and you're doing it together. But I mean, as a family, you still should, take them out to the playground, create different memories, like do projects together, build stuff, play together, like just different ways of doing things, right? But going back to like the being extreme, do you feel like we should be radical in that sense? Is that what we're going towards? Because you talked about grace. And I feel like sometimes people grab grace and are like, I can enjoy life. No big deal. I have grace covering me. And in reality, a lot of people, I think, see their life here on earth as like, this is my time to enjoy.
Yeah.
I want to enjoy my life. And so again, when you go back to, this is about me. It's not about anybody else but me. Nobody's going to look out for me. So I got to look out for me. But I don't think that's what we're called for.
Correct.
But I think it's been so ingrained in us that we must have some enjoyment. And I'm not saying, and I'm talking about enjoyment, how, a lot of people see it. The foods, the travel, the spending money.
Entertainment.
Going into debt.
Mm-hmm.
Having some drinks, going to the club, whatever it is that you like. And you're like, you've had this thought before. I work. I want to be able to enjoy myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to bust my butt for the rest of my life and not enjoy my life. So what do you think in that regard?
People are multifaceted beings. My friend Paul. You guys need to read Paul's letters because how I said this before. He goes from saying you are a slave to sin or you're a slave to God.
Mm-hmm.
There's no being in the middle. There's no lukewarm. Like, come on, pick one. Then he goes on saying you can't do it alone. You need the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the only one to change you into who you want to become. Mm-hmm. Into having that self-control. That's the fruit of the Spirit. Self-control. It's part of it. Then he goes a couple chapters later saying, he himself, he's like, I do what I hate. Like, I revile myself. Like, I know it's sin and I can't like stop. And I think it shows the weakness of humanity, which is the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
We all need a savior. It shows the fallen world. Even once we have Jesus in our hearts, we are not going to be perfect day and night. It shows that struggle, which is natural. This struggle on earth of, I'm going to do good. And, there's a little bit of sin in my life. Okay, I'm going to do good. I think the point for a Christian in following Christ goes back to self-control, which goes back to intentionality, becoming more like him. It's not easy. We're on a journey of wanting to do that, of wanting to be better in all aspects of our life. We're not completely there. Will we be completely there until the day we die? No, we're not going to reach perfection until we're in heaven. But it's a journey. And I think so many Americans don't want to take that journey because you said it's the least traveled. And so they're like, I want to feel good. And they, in the name of Jesus, they're like on a whole nother path.
Uh-huh.
But I hope the audience sees, and even like you see, that it's not as simple as be militaristic, have so much grace. It's this constant, we're of this world, we're in this world, but we're not of this world tension. And we're going to have to live with this tension until Jesus' return.
I think it comes down to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, only you and God know what's in your heart. Other people might hear pieces of your heart, but only you and God really truly know what's in your heart.
Yeah.
And I believe that if your heart is striving to become better, then yes, there's going to be slips, trips, and falls. But if you get up and you dust yourself off, like I said before, and you continue moving forward, you have not failed. You are continuing to strive. That we will mess up. We will mess up. 100%. There is no way that we don't mess up. We can have discipline. We can have self-control. But we are, at the end of the day, we are humans.
Yeah.
And we fall short of the glory. We fall short every single day. And that's where grace comes in to fulfill those spaces. It comes to fulfill. That's the reason why Christ came to die for us, right? And so I think it comes down to your heart. Are you striving? Because it's one thing for you to be like, I am striving. God knows my heart. I am really striving. I keep messing up every single day, but my heart, I keep striving. And then we go back to what we said in the other episodes, like, how do we help ourselves get to where we want to be? We have accountability. We submerge ourselves with the groups that we want to look like. We have people that have wisdom. We have mentors. We have all these things. We have tools. And so that's part of the heart. If your heart really is in it to strive to be better, then are you using the tools that you already know that are there? Because if you're not, then you're not striving, and you know that in your heart, and God knows that as well. So I think that's what it comes down to. Self-control is super important, but we are not perfect. I don't think we'll ever be perfect. And again, like you said, grace is not to be abused. And the grace of God will not make you abuse it. It'll actually transform you into wanting to be more like Christ. And so that would be my personal conclusion to this topic of it has to do with your heart.
I'd like to give an analogy to show that. Because when you say oh, you just have to strive. So many people are, I'm trying, right? It's not that I don't try. I'm trying my best, and so they're content with that, and that's where they stay. But like the Bible says, you will bear fruit if you're doing the work, and if you have the Holy Spirit, if you like are on the path of righteousness, you're going to bear fruit. I do believe. I wish I knew I had a green thumb and know about fruits and vegetables and farming and things like that. But correct me if I'm wrong. If you grow something from the land, there could be good things and weeds come along with it.
Okay.
Correct?
Yeah.
The signs of weeds don't negate that something good can grow. It's, are you going to let the weed grow and choke your plant, your flower, your fruit? Or are you going to do something about it and remove it and be proactive?
Yeah, so you're basically saying not every situation is perfect, but are you going to use a situation that goes against what you're striving for as an excuse to just,
Because you can be better and still have bad habits come up. And you would say to be better, okay, I'm going to now focus on these bad habits. But there's still growth.
Yeah.
There has to be fruit. No fruit means you're not doing anything. I think you can have fruit and still, again, those situations come up and say, okay, time to take those weeds out.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's a long conversation.
It is. It has been, but I have enjoyed it.
Me too.
I hope that you guys have stuck around for all of it. And I'm sorry if we scared you a little bit with all the extremeness. Again, we are not perfect. We're not even close to perfect. We're learning every single day. We're learning from all of our experiences. Every experience that we go through is an opportunity for us to grow and for us to learn. And I think we've been intentional in that, of just learning from everything that we've gone through. And I just want to extend that grace to you guys. We're going to go through what we're going to go through, but we just have to learn from everything. We have to learn and really just have that heart of striving to be better. Again, it doesn't have to be cold turkey from one day to another. It can just be 1%. And that 1%, I think, is hope for a lot of people because it doesn't sound like a whole mountain of 100%. It's only 1%, which could mean just one simple adjustment, just one step. And it sounds a lot more achievable that way. But knowing that you do that 1% every single day, it's only going to compound and you're only going to get better. So with that, we want to thank you guys for taking the time. I hope, again, that you listened all the way to the end. This conversation really blessed our life, and we hope that it blessed yours as well. We thank you so much, and we just hope that you can like this video, that you can share it if this has been a blessing or a positive impact on your life. If you guys can comment, we'd really appreciate it. We read all the comments and we reply back. Thank you. Thank you very much. And that concludes the episode of the Better Everyday podcast.
Yes, we'll see you on the next episode.